Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today. And it's always amazing to see how prepared you are. You have all these numbers and statistics right off the top of your head, and I know you live and breathe this, so it is quite impressive. Let me start with an observation following up on some of the comments of Karen Boback, or Representative Boback. When I began looking at this, and this was an issue that I think we all grappled with, tried to deal with. One of the things I wanted to do was debunk some of the information that was out there. That information would be, where do we actually rank nationally as far as gas tax? Was the 12-cent state gas tax really going away, which we know it did as of January 1st? And then what was the impact to local roads? So going to Representative Boback's point, it occurred to me as I was looking at this, in local roads in my district alone, there's 327 miles. That means that that's the equivalent of me traveling from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh, or back and forth, and some from home to Harrisburg. More startling to me today was the fact that you mentioned 77,000 miles of local roads. So I decided, what is the distance around the world at the equator? Turns out you could go.
Not going to ask me that, are you? I don't.
It turns out that that's equivalent to 3 times around the world at the equator. That's what we have in local roads. So, to your point, Representative, I don't know what our townships, I don't know how they maintain their local roads at the level they did with the amount they were receiving. So I just wanted to start with that observation.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, the entire network we have here in Pennsylvania is huge. I mean, it's a big state, Keystone State, a lot of traffic through it, but they own twice as many miles as we do. And PSATs, as an organization, as did county governments, strongly supported Act 89. And as they said in their editorials that they were publishing, the only alternative for them is property taxes. They don't have any other revenue-generating means other than that. So they were strongly supportive of this as a way to avert a need to go back and hit property taxes to take care of those roads. Okay. I didn't know that about the equator. I may use that in the future in my commentary. I appreciate that.
It just occurred to me. It sounded like a big number, and I thought, well, how big is it? Of course, after this was all done, I came up with an 8-page letter and, 5 graphs and charts from independent tax foundation sources and the like on this tax issue. And what I found out, and I wanted to see if you believe this information is correct, that prior to this bill being passed, where we reduced and eliminated the 12-cent state gas tax, we weren't 1, 2, or 3, as I had heard, in highest taxes. According to information I have, we were 10th highest in tolls, 15th highest in fuel tax when you looked at federal, state, local, as to all the other states, which was only slightly above the national average, which was also kind of interesting to me. And if you considered everything, gas taxes, tolls, and user fees, we were about 18th. Does that sound about right?
It does. We have one of the lowest registration and license fees in the nation. And if you think about the way you all debated how to deal with this, and we had a lot of discussion, all of us did, about this, but I think Pennsylvania's model is to say the access charge is going to be kept low, meaning we're not going to charge you a lot to get on the system. Your driver's license registration, the more you use it, the more you pay. And what could be more fair than that? A lot of other states have very high registration and license fees, and then they might have a lower gas tax. What that means is whether you drive 5,000 miles a year or 30,000 miles a year, you're paying that high entry cost for registration and license fees. And I think our model's more fair in that it really is tied to usage, not to just simply if you own a vehicle, you're going to get charged a lot.
Well, I'd like to hit the real issue, the purpose for my standing up today, and that is, what would you tell our consumers and what would you tell us about how to monitor this commodity? We know it goes up and down. I noticed before Thanksgiving, amazingly, the price went up locally about 10 cents a gallon. Then it came down a while. Then around the holidays, it went up again. It went up again in January. What do you tell people about how to monitor whether they're really recognizing this elimination of the initial tax and the franchise changes and gouging?
Well, unfortunately, as we've said many times in these dialogues, we don't have a whole lot of knowledge about the pricing point. We know that over 70% of the price of a gallon of gas is tied to the price of a barrel of oil. And that futures market changes dramatically. That's what's affected us right now, as some unrest in Venezuela has driven the price up on the futures market and oil. And that has a much larger effect than anything we do or you do relative to the tax standpoint. That fluctuation that they see that could be 20, 30 cents in a month is tied to the futures market. It's tied to production costs. If we have, like the one year you had a hurricane and knocked out some production facilities, that has a much bigger cost than anything else. The other part on the pricing side is the whole model of selling gasoline is, and the wholesalers or the retailers will tell you this, is to get you in and buy the other products. It used to be to get you in and then have service, right? Get your mechanic work done now it's get you in and buy food, drinks, other things, which is where they really make their profits. The price point is a competitive thing for them, and how they price it is not directly tied to the fuel price. Clearly, the fuel taxes, if it were, you'd see a direct correlation rate at the state line between fuel taxes, and you don't see that. Never have. So I think for anyone watching this, if they know how to predict it, I'd love to know, because that'd be a great futures thing personally. But I think it's very difficult to predict. What you're going to see is that our tax structure is the lowest component of what's going to affect the price of gas. It's going to be those other things that are going to affect it much more than what we do on the tax side.
Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here today, and thank you for your assistance in trying to get this done. I know it was a heavy lift for everybody, but I think in retrospect, looking at the way this winter has been, I drive around my communities wondering what would we be facing if we hadn't done something with this horrible weather we had, where I still have 2 inches of ice, you know, on my own front walkway. It's like a skating rink, and I know that we're going to have more problems in maintaining it. So thank you.
Thank you.